For this critical focus video project, I chose the movie The Virgin Suicides because it is, in fact, my favorite. It is set in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, in a middle-class suburb near the outskirts of Detroit during the 1970s and centers around the lives of 5 sisters, the Lisbons, narrated from the perspective of an anonymous group of teenage boys who struggles to find an explanation for the Lisbon suicides. The Virgin Suicides is narrated in third-person voiceover style by the perspective of an anonymous group of teenage boys who are across the street from the Lisbon girls. The thoughts of the narrator and the experience of the narrator are all that the viewer of the movie has access to, meaning that the voiceover is restrictive and not omniscient or all-knowing.
People saw their clairvoyance in the wiped-out elms, the harsh sunlight, and the continuing decline of our auto industry. Even then, as teenagers, we tried to put the pieces together. We still can't. Now, whenever we run into each other at business lunches or cocktail parties, we find ourselves in the corner going over the evidence one more time. All to understand those 5 girls, who after all these years we can't get out of our minds. Cecilia, the youngest, was 13. And Lux was 14. Bonnie was 15. Mary was 16. And Therese was 17. No one could understand how Mrs. Lisbon and Mr. Lisbon, our math teacher, had produced such beautiful creatures.
In The Virgin Suicides, abstract and associational editing is used by joining shots together based on the graphic and rhythmic qualities instead of narrative function. Non-diegetic inserts add symbolism or create a metaphor. This is shown specifically in The Virgin Suicides to symbolize that the sister who is reading from her journal is already dead.
And look, history's that. Lux lost it over Kevin Hines?
The garbage man.
The garbage man.
Lux lost it over Kevin Haynes, the garbage man. She'd wake up at 5 in the morning and hang out casually on the front steps, like it wasn't completely obvious. She wrote his name in marker on all her bras and underwear, and Mom found them and bleached out all the Kevins. Lux was crying on her bed all day. The trees like lungs filling with air. My sister, the mean one, pulling my hair.
And so we started to learn about their lives, coming to hold collective memories of times we hadn't experienced. We felt the imprisonment of being a girl, the way it made your mind active and dreamy, and how you ended up knowing what colors went together. We knew that the girls were really women in disguise, that they understood love and even death, and that our job was merely to create the noise that seemed to fascinate them. We knew that they knew everything about us, and that we couldn't fathom them at all.
In this film, the narrative style adds to the overall mystery and raises questions about what is really going on across the street with the Lisbon girls, because the narrators themselves are also asking questions about the same things that the viewer is wondering about. The way that abstract editing is used takes the viewer to a different place and gets across the idea that they are no longer in a quote-unquote earthly realm.